morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. And I'd just like to thank the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications and the Estonian Tourist Board for the invitation to speak today. It's a pleasure to be here representing the OECD to highlight some of the key findings from the recent reports analysing megatrends to better shape the future of tourism, which was developed in conjunction and with the financial support of the European Union. So why has the OECD undertaken this work on megatrends? Well, there are three main reasons. To determine and assess those key megatrends most likely to significantly impact upon the tourism industry to 2040, to better enable policymakers to bring currently unforeseen and emerging issues into the strategic policy agenda, and develop potential scenarios and policy responses to address these, and to better assist public and private actors to more generally identify and respond to opportunities and challenges as they arise. Megatrends can be described as those large-scale social, economic, political, environmental and technological changes that can bring new and often unforeseen challenges, threats and opportunities. They are slow to form but have the potential to transform society in the coming decades. Understanding the potential implications of megatrends for tourism is crucial for both government and industry in order to prepare for the potential changes in the sector. The exact outcomes of these trends are typically uncertain, although it's important that governments are proactive in considering their potential long-term implications and planning for the future through informed analysis. In order to prepare for megatrends, however, it's first necessary to understand them. The chapter Megatrends Shaping the Future of Tourism in the OECD flagship publication OECD Tourism Trends and Policies 2018 contributes to this process by identifying and analysing four key megatrends anticipated to drive change in the tourism sector in the years ahead. They are namely evolving visitor demand, sustainable tourism growth, enabling technologies and travel mobility. The final report, which was published in November last year, builds on the chapter with further in-depth analysis. In particular, it provides a range of potential scenarios and policy considerations for each of the four megatrends. It identifies key areas where governments can take steps to prepare for megatrends more generally, and provides a set of principles for strategic foresight in tourism. Now I'll take a moment to examine each of the four key megatrends in more detail, highlighting some of the key trends and drivers, some policy considerations, and providing some country examples. For the megatrend of evolving visitor demand, key trends and drivers identified in the report include the fact that changing global demographics will have a major impact on visitor demand. Increasing wealth in emerging economies has led to the rapid expansion of the global middle class, with about 150 million people joining every year, and an estimated 88% of those residing in Asia. Aging populations will continue to increase globally, and it is estimated that the number of people over the age of 60 will more than double in the next 35 years. This group is expected to pursue more leisure-oriented experiences compared to previous generations. And despite the projected growth for those in the ages of over 60, millennials and Generation Z will comprise the bulk of tourists by 2040, with most belonging to the middle class and again originating from emerging economies. As digital natives, they will take shorter, more frequent trips, they will be more demanding, but at the same time be open to sharing products and services, and will increasingly pursue authentic experiences. Scenario building is recognised as a useful tool to assist both public and private sector actors to think strategically and prepare for a changing landscape. For each of the four megatrends, the report proposes specific policy considerations based on a range of scenarios and critical uncertainties that we identified for each of them. Without going into detail on the various scenarios today, which are outlined in the final report, which is available on the OECD website for download, the policy considerations for evolving visitor demand include that policymakers and industry should prepare for growing demand among elderly tourists, due of course to the ageing population. From the perspective of government, this preparation should largely focus on strengthening accessibility and also investing in infrastructure to support those with mobility challenges and cognitive impairment. Efforts should also be taken to respond to the needs of visitors with different levels of digital fluency in a digital era. Destinations should also rethink how travel experiences are framed and marketed. As changing demographics are likely to dramatically change the way that people choose where and how to experience travel. Innovative digital campaigns utilising social media platforms to promote the sharing of experiences will become increasingly important components of tourism marketing strategies. Other policy responses include promoting cross-cultural understanding and awareness in light of expected higher numbers of visitors from new markets, and looking for opportunities to promote and develop authentic and personalised experiences that will likely appeal to and are affordable for younger generations of travellers. In New Zealand, as for many countries, China is currently the fastest growing source market. In 2012, in response to this, the government initiated a review of the Chinese market, which resulted in the development of a nationwide toolkit designed to accelerate the ability of New Zealand businesses and destinations to raise their service levels for Chinese visitor market. While in 2015, a China Visitor Insight program was implemented to help tourism industry better understand the needs and preferences of Chinese independent travellers. New Zealand's response to China's growing importance as a source market is one example of how the tourism sector will need to adapt to these trends and adopt innovative approaches to accommodate new and specific preferences of individual groups. Tourism is widely recognised as an activity that is dependent on natural resources, while at the same time contributing to the depletion of these same resources. However, tourism can also raise awareness of cultural and environmental values, help finance the protection and management of protected areas, and increase their economic value and perceived importance. Due to its cross-cutting nature and close connections to numerous sectors, tourism can play a key role in driving the transition to a low-carbon and resource-efficient economy. Examples of areas where tourism will likely have a significant impact on sustainable growth to 2040 include tourism-related emissions. Currently only at 5% of global GHG emissions in the most recent estimates. However, with aviation emissions representing 3/4 of these and forecast to triple by 2035, the contribution of tourism-related emissions to the global figure is likely to rise. Freshwater resources. The trend towards higher standard accommodation and more water-intensive activities will likely lead to increased pressure on water resources and also on tourism activities in many destinations. Food production. With over 300 million meals per day prepared in hotels as recently as 2016, the ability of hotels to directly influence waste minimisation, sustainable food production and local supply chains over the next 20 to 25 years will only increase. Potential policy responses to these challenges and opportunities include the need to promote horizontal and vertical policy coordination and closer integration of multiple policies to support a more strategic approach to sustainable tourism growth, to work closely with industry and local communities to better manage tourism flows, particularly at destinations that are susceptible to environmental and social degradation, and encourage tourism development in alternative areas to spread the potential benefits and impacts of tourism. There's also an important role for governments to play in addressing existing information gaps by taking steps to better educate tourism businesses and the public on the benefits of adopting sustainable tourism practices. and also mainstreaming investment and financing practices that support the transition to a green, low emissions and climate resilient economy. For instance, this might include incorporating sustainability criteria into public financing and investment supports, and incentivising private investment in resource efficient infrastructure. One particular example highlighted in the report is that of a sustainable destination development program in Sweden. This initiative was established by the Swedish Agency for Economic and Regional Growth in 2012 to strengthen and develop sustainable tourism development in the regions. Around 1 million euros was allocated to each of 5 regions to initiate activities to prolong the tourist season, develop new and more sustainable products and services, enhance accessibility, and generally improve the destination's quality and competitiveness. The project highlighted the benefits of a national initiative, bringing credibility and status, as well as driving practical actions. A new program was launched in 2016 and is expected to run until the end of this year, with 7 projects across Sweden focusing on nature and cultural tourism. When we turn to enabling technologies, which I would imagine is of particular interest to Estonia, being the e-country that it is, we have identified another set of particular trends and drivers. Firstly, it's clear that a variety of emerging technologies, ranging from digital platforms and artificial intelligence and virtual and augmented reality, are reshaping long-standing business models and have the potential to upend many sectors, including tourism. The travel and tourism industry has experienced firsthand how the sharing economy platforms can rapidly change consumer behaviour. With exceptional growth in stays in private accommodation and increased use of ride sourcing apps in recent years, this is a trend that we would expect to continue. Rapid advancements in artificial intelligence and robotics could potentially mean fewer people working in services industries, as jobs with routine functions are automised. The arrival of autonomous vehicles could also dramatically reshape the travel experience as tours become more affordable and customisable. While predictive analytics and big data are making it easier to anticipate what travellers want and offer them customised services at reasonable prices. This customisation and personal service delivery challenges the role of many existing travel agencies and other tourism service providers. Policy considerations in response include taking steps to support the transformation of SMEs to a digital economy. The process of digital transformation can provide SMEs with new opportunities to reach international markets easily and also directly interact with customers from around the world. An important element of this process will be to facilitate SME access to technical knowledge and specialised inputs. For example, linkages with service and tech providers, including research centres and universities, in order to increase ICT adoption, learning and innovation. In an age which technology plays an increasing role in the tourist experience, international cooperation will be an integral component in efforts to achieve data security and privacy goals. As a global phenomenon that crosses borders, this will require ongoing conversations across various levels of government within nations, and also as well as cooperation between nations. Other policy responses include promoting an innovation culture, supported by the frameworks necessary to attract investment, foster a startup culture, and respond rapidly to technological change. And also working closely with industry, colleges, universities, and institutes to ensure that the tourism workforce of the future meets the needs of industry. Virtual and augmented reality are providing new ways for consumers to engage with destinations, providing a level of immersion and interaction that is unmatched by other media platforms through a more compelling mode of storytelling. Australia's Australia in 360 initiative has captured high-resolution footage of the most popular tourist destinations for use in immersive VR experiences, which aim to entice prospective travellers to visit and experience Australia's unique coastal areas. Another interesting initiative is the Smart Destinations project in Spain, which is helping eligible destinations to utilise state-of-the-art technology to increase competitiveness through more sustainable use of natural and cultural attractions, the creation of additional innovative resources, and improvements in the efficiency of production and distribution processes. Finally, transport and the travel experience are essential components of the tourism system and play a vital role in moving tourists efficiently from their place of residence to their final destination and then on to various attractions. Potential opportunities and challenges for both policymakers and industry include high forecast growth in air, rail and cruise passenger numbers over the coming decades, which will present obvious and significant opportunities, but also infrastructure and other challenges as well. The need to find a balance between enhanced travel facilitation and maintaining or improving border security will only become more important. While the incidence of natural disasters and pandemics and political instability could all potentially rise. Potential policy responses to the trends in travel mobility include taking steps to ensure that the medium to long-term needs of the tourism industry are considered as part of the transport access and transport planning process. It's essential that tourism and transport policymakers work closely together and with industry to develop transport services and infrastructure that respond to the needs not only of the local communities but also to tourists. Policymakers should identify opportunities to utilise current and emerging technologies to streamline visa and cross-border processing for low-risk travellers through pre-screening and authorisation programs. In addition to improving efficiency and reducing costs, such initiatives will significantly improve the travel experience. Policymakers should also consider ways to support alternative and sustainable mobility in tourism, and this could include promotion of more sustainable means of transportation with and between destinations, and working with industry to provide supporting infrastructure to facilitate, for instance, electric vehicle touring and human-powered mobility options. The Airport Smart Security Strategy is one example of utilising technology to streamline visa and cross-border processing. Given the expected growth in air travel to 2040, evolving security threats and passenger dissatisfaction with queues and intrusive measures, a strategic partnership between Airports Council International and IATA was established. A three-pronged strategy was developed to integrate risk-based security concepts, advanced screening technologies, and process innovations in order to streamline security processes and improve the passenger experience. The system was piloted in Amsterdam, London and Melbourne, and passenger feedback on the trials was very positive. As a result, ACI and IATA have embarked on a second wave of developments and continue to hold workshops and events around the world to facilitate knowledge sharing on this topic. So how might these megatrends present themselves in the future? Towards the end of last year, I was going to a conference in Seoul and I came across this article, which I think demonstrates clearly the potential and tangible example of the vast opportunities, in this case emerging technologies, to address evolving visitor demands of consumers. It was the winner of the 2018 Radical Innovation Award. It's a self-driving hotel room, which they suggest even within the next 10 years, pending the development of necessary supporting infrastructure, could provide customised, comfortable and time-efficient alternative form of transport. With the ability to travel for between 6 to 10 hours between charges, including overnight, autonomous vehicles like this will be well placed to compete with short-haul domestic travel in many countries, eliminating the need for transporting heavy suitcases to and from airports, to waiting in line in check-in, and navigating security, all while reducing your CO2 footprint. So taking all of this on board, how can policymakers begin to prepare for the challenges and opportunities posed by these megatrends over the next 25 to 30 years? In addition to adopting a forward-looking integrated governmental approach, there are three key areas outlined in the report. The first is modernising regulatory and legislative frameworks and engaging stakeholders in their development and regular review. Cultivating partnerships with key stakeholders more broadly. This will also become more and more critical in order to identify and respond to challenges and opportunities as they arrive, and also to facilitate the process of policy making, which is becoming more cross-cutting than ever. And finally, exploring ways to future-proof tourism policies, which could involve the development of scenarios or perhaps maintaining a long-term horizon scanning process that identifies weak signals of change that then require further examination. It's clear, however, that long-term strategies will need to be flexible and adaptive and provide regular feedback mechanisms between government, local communities and industry. To summarise, strategic foresight exercises like those we've been discussing today can help tourism policymakers anticipate alternative futures and inform the development of forward-looking policies. In recognition of this important role, the report identifies 6 guiding principles to help maximise the value of such exercises for governments. And they are: utilise existing evidence and projections whilst being agile enough to adapt to emerging realities. Prepare for and consider alternative futures when designing policies and programs. Take proactive steps to work towards the desired future. Consider the impact of policies on future generations and take responsible actions in the present. Engage with diverse stakeholders that represent a range of perspectives and interests. And finally, collaborate internationally to ensure that policies and decisions are globally sustainable. Thank you very much for the opportunity again to speak today about this report. If you would like more information on the report itself or on the other work that the OECD undertakes on tourism, I would invite you to visit this webpage where most of our publications are available free to download. Thank you very much.